Most people imagine aging as a slow, steady decline. Every birthday adds another small amount of damage. Muscles weaken a little. Metabolism slows a little. Disease risk rises a little. But human biology may not follow that smooth timeline. Researchers studying thousands of genes, proteins, metabolites, immune signals, and microorganisms have found evidence that the body can change in waves. Long periods of relative stability may be interrupted by shorter biological transitions when many systems shift together. One large human study identified especially prominent changes around the mid-40s and near age 60. A new 2026 scientific perspective argues that researchers may be missing important information when they treat aging as a straight line. The timing of an intervention could matter almost as much as the intervention itself. That creates a more practical question. Are there periods when the body becomes unusually vulnerable to aging, and could acting before those transitions preserve health for longer? The idea begins with a simple problem. When scientists study aging, they often compare younger people with older people. They may assume that a protein rising between ages 30 and 70 increases gradually across those 4 decades. But the same final difference could be created in several ways. The protein could rise steadily every year. It could remain stable until age 55 and then increase rapidly. It could rise sharply at 45, stabilize and change again at 60. Those patterns would look similar if researchers measured only the beginning and the end. Biologically, however, they would mean very different things. A steady process might require continuous prevention. A sudden transition might create a narrow window when treatment has the greatest effect. In 2024, researchers followed 108 adults ranging from 25 to 75 years old. They repeatedly collected blood, stool, skin, oral, and nasal samples over several years. The team measured more than 135,000 biological features, including RNA molecules, proteins, metabolites, immune signals, lipids, and microbes. The results did not show one smooth path of molecular aging. Approximately 81% of the measured features changed nonlinearly. Many of the largest shifts clustered around 2 periods, approximately age 44 and age 60. The mid-40s transition affected molecules and pathways connected with lipid metabolism, cardiovascular health, alcohol processing, skin, muscle, and metabolic function. The transition near 60 involved additional changes related to immune regulation, carbohydrate metabolism, kidney function, cardiovascular disease, and other age-associated systems. This does not mean everyone suddenly becomes old on their 44th or 60th birthday. The ages were statistical peaks found in a relatively small group. An individual transition could happen earlier, later, gradually, or not at all. But the finding challenges the idea that aging moves at the same speed throughout adulthood. Imagine a staircase instead of a ramp. For several years, your body may remain on one step. Then several biological systems move together to a new level. You may not immediately feel the transition. Blood sugar can become harder to control before diabetes appears. Arteries can stiffen before symptoms develop. Muscle energy production can decline before strength loss becomes obvious. Immune regulation can shift before infections become more frequent. The outward change may arrive after the molecular transition has already begun. Why might the mid-40s be one of these periods? One explanation involves changes accumulating across several systems at the same time. People may become less active while maintaining the eating patterns they had when younger. Sleep can deteriorate. Visceral fat may increase. Muscle mass may begin declining. Years of smoking, alcohol, stress, pollution, or poor metabolic health may become more visible inside the body. Hormonal changes may contribute, especially during the menopausal transition in women. However, the mid-40s pattern was also observed in men, suggesting that menopause could not explain the entire shift. The researchers found changes related to alcohol metabolism in both sexes. This does not necessarily mean the body suddenly loses the ability to process alcohol at 44. The pattern could reflect changes in liver metabolism, body composition, inflammation, drinking behavior, or interactions among several factors. The study revealed when biological signals changed. It did not establish one cause. The transition near age 60 may represent another accumulation point. By this age, immune cells can become less responsive to unfamiliar threats while chronic low-grade inflammation rises. Kidney filtration may decline. Glucose regulation becomes more difficult. Blood vessels become less flexible. Recovery from illness or inactivity may take longer. These systems also affect one another. Poor blood sugar control damages blood vessels. Vascular dysfunction reduces oxygen and nutrient delivery. Chronic inflammation interferes with muscle and insulin signaling. Loss of muscle makes glucose control harder because skeletal muscle is one of the body's largest destinations for blood sugar. A transition in one system can push several others. This may explain why aging sometimes appears to accelerate after an illness, hospitalization, major stressor, or long period of inactivity. The person did not gain 10 calendar years in a few months. Several connected systems may have crossed vulnerability thresholds together. A fresh 2026 perspective in Nature reviews. Genetics expands this idea beyond two specific ages. Its authors argue that aging should be studied as a nonlinear and dynamic process. Different organs, cell types, and molecular systems may each have their own transition points. The brain may not age on the same schedule as the immune system. The liver may remain resilient while blood vessels age faster. Muscle could respond strongly to exercise even when another organ has already developed accelerated biological aging. In other words, the body may not possess one aging clock. It may contain many clocks that sometimes synchronize and sometimes separate. Recent multimodal aging clock research supports this more complicated picture. Scientists are combining clinical measurements, imaging, proteins, metabolites, DNA-related signals, and organ-specific data to estimate different dimensions of aging. These clocks often disagree. Someone can appear younger according to one measurement and older according to another. That disagreement is not necessarily a failure. It may reflect the fact that each clock is observing a different biological system. This has major implications for anti-aging research. Suppose a drug improves a marker related to inflammation, but is given after muscle, vascular, and metabolic systems have already crossed a major transition. The treatment may change the blood marker without restoring the lost function. The same intervention given earlier might produce a larger benefit. But earlier treatment also creates risks. Most healthy adults should not take experimental drugs for decades based on an aging score that has not been proven to guide treatment. Scientists first need to identify which transitions are causal, which are reversible, and which are simply signs of other changes. A molecular shift may predict disease without causing it. Lowering the marker would then create a better-looking laboratory result without protecting the person. This is one reason biological age testing remains difficult to interpret. A commercial test may report that someone is 5 years older than expected, but it may not reveal which organ is aging faster, why the difference exists, whether it is temporary or whether changing the score improves health. Biological age is not a medical diagnosis. The nonlinear aging concept is more useful when it changes how people think about prevention. Many adults wait until a disease appears before changing anything. They begin strength training after losing substantial muscle. They improve their diet after developing diabetes. They prioritize sleep after years of high blood pressure and fatigue. If biological transitions occur before obvious symptoms, the years leading into midlife and later adulthood may be especially important. The practical goal is not to fear ages 44 or 60. It is to enter each transition with more reserve. Muscle is one form of reserve. Resistance training helps maintain strength, glucose disposal, balance, and the ability to recover after illness. Cardiorespiratory fitness is another. Regular aerobic activity strengthens the heart, improves blood vessel function, and preserves the capacity to perform daily tasks without exhaustion. Metabolic health matters because long periods of elevated glucose, blood pressure, and visceral fat can push multiple organs toward dysfunction. Sleep supports immune regulation, appetite control, cardiovascular health, memory, and tissue repair. Avoiding smoking and reducing harmful alcohol exposure removes stressors that become more costly as repair systems weaken. None of these actions stops aging. They may affect how strongly the body is pushed when it reaches a biological transition. Think of two people approaching the same steep section of a mountain. One arrives with strong legs, adequate supplies, and good cardiovascular capacity. The other arrives already exhausted. The mountain is still there for both. Their ability to cross it is not the same. There is also a reason to avoid extreme reactions. The 2024 study involved only 108 participants. Although researchers collected an extraordinary amount of molecular data, the sample was not large enough to prove that two universal aging waves occur in every population. Lifestyle patterns may also influence the identified ages. People in different countries, occupations, diets, and socioeconomic conditions may experience different transition points. The participants were followed for only several years, not across their entire adult lives. The researchers compared people of different ages while also collecting repeated measurements, but a perfect study would follow the same large group from youth through old age. That would require decades. The specific ages should therefore be treated as clues, not deadlines. The stronger lesson is that aging is uneven. Some years may carry more biological change than others. Some organs may age faster than the rest of the body. And a person can remain outwardly healthy while important molecular systems are already moving. This also explains why a single annual number cannot describe health completely. Weight may remain stable while muscle is replaced by fat. Blood pressure may look acceptable while fitness declines. A person may exercise 3 times a week but spend nearly every remaining hour sitting. A broader view should include strength, aerobic capacity, waist size, blood pressure, glucose control, lipids, kidney and liver function, sleep, mobility, medication burden, and family history. The most valuable measurements are not those that merely declare someone old. They are those that reveal an actionable problem. For a person in their 40s, that might mean recognizing declining activity, rising waist circumference, worsening sleep, or abnormal blood sugar before the changes become disease. For someone approaching 60, it might mean protecting muscle, reviewing medications, addressing hearing or vision loss, improving balance, and ensuring that cardiovascular risk factors are treated. The exact actions should depend on medical history and professional guidance. But waiting for severe decline is rarely the best strategy. The emerging science of nonlinear aging changes the central question. Instead of asking only how fast someone is aging, researchers may need to ask when their biology is changing most rapidly. That timing could reveal moments when prevention is more effective, recovery is more difficult, or an intervention needs to be adjusted. Aging may not be a clock that ticks at the same volume every year. For long periods, it may be almost silent. Then several systems begin moving at once. Scientists are only beginning to map those transitions. Until they can predict them precisely, the safest strategy is not to chase a perfect biological age score. It is to build enough physical and metabolic reserve that when the next step arrives, the body is prepared to climb it.